Hey there folks, welcome to Spectrum Pulse. We talk about music, movies, art, and culture. And today, it's one of those big lists. We're going to be talking about the top albums and songs of the mid-year in 2017. There have been a lot of people who have said that 2017 has not been a good year for music, on the charts or otherwise. And you know what, from a certain point of view, I can see that. Hip-hop in particular has had a really rough past couple of months, and between pop stars flopping, mainstream country not knowing what it is and continuing to spiral, and entirely too many records from established acts not living up to their potential, indie or mainstream, I can see why some people are calling 2017 a not particularly good year, or at least a disappointment. I can also say that I don't buy into it for a second, because for me at least, 2017 has been awesome. I already have plenty of songs to line up my list of my best hits, and going into this point at the mid-year, I have more records that I have scored a 9 out of 10 than ever before. Granted, it also seems like one of those years where the critical darlings just aren't quite crossing over in the same way, and if you haven't heard most of my favorites, that would probably be why. And that's not even counting on the stuff that I had to cut, and man, there were a couple rough choices there. We'll get to that in a second. I think that part of this comes from Patreon helping to shape my request. Once the scheduling finally got figured out as part of this grand experiment, things began to click pretty well, and I started covering a lot of music that I really liked. So, by this point, you all know the drill. 12 albums in order, an order that, yes, could shuffle by the end of 2017. 24 songs in chronological order of my reviewing them. Yeah, I'm expanding the list. It's that kind of year, honestly. And keep in mind that if they don't make the list, they've all still got a real shot for this list at the end of the year. Tastes do change and evolve. So, let's get this started with number 12. This is always the hardest slot for me to fill. This year more than most, because in a year with so many fantastic albums, the merely great records, they face much stiffer competition. So if you're wondering why certain records that I and the rest of the world praised are not on this list, well, I gotta be honest, they just missed the cut. And yet still, my choice for this record even surprised me a little bit. I mean, it's not the sonic evolution of Spoon or Hooray for the Riff Raff, or the unquestioned excellence of Idols or Jamie Wyatt or Creeper, or the refined expansion from Father John Misty or the XX. Hell, from a cursory glance, it's a sort of alternative rock that in a different time might have even crossed over to the radio, so what the hell is this?
And if we drive away to the place I love the most, when my lungs collapse and my heart turns black, I'll give my ashes to the coast.
This record, it grew on me so much more than I ever expected. Even coming off of the review, individual songs like Happiness, Ashes Ashes, Pretty Low, St. Paul, they just stuck with me in a way that I can't quite describe. And I know I'm praising this more than pretty much every other critic did, but considering the leap forward in the writing and the poignant honesty that ran through so much of the delivery, this was one of my bleak burnout records for every moment of that I've had this year thus far. And for that, well, I know a lot of people will still dismiss it as being a little bit too conventional. I still highly recommend you give Def Havana and this record in particular a look. There is a place for records like this that needs to be considered, beyond this list, of course. Number 11. So yeah, not a lot of hip-hop on this list, most because I will again make the argument that hip-hop hasn't really had a great year in 2017, at least not compared to 2014 or 2015. Even an artist like Kendrick Lamar, who gave us Damn this year, I'm sorry, didn't feel like his best, especially coming off of To Pimp a Butterfly. Instead, the record that I kept going back to so much more, yeah, it's this.
And I really can't take it no more. I've been fighting temptations, my lord. I'm young and I'm restless, and I really can't help it. I never felt selfish before. I've been living so reckless, I know. Tell me, Lorde, you help me. I said, Lorde, you help me.
You know, I'll be honest, more often than not, I have overlooked Joey Badass and his crew in Pro Era when I've talked about hip-hop that I love, and yet that changed in a big way in 2017 with All-American Badass. The melodies and hooks, they were so strong, the content was on point. The bars, they may not have been as layered, even though on the back half of the disc they got to that point, but their directness was unbelievably potent, and it showed a stylistic evolution for Joey that opens up so many potential avenues for growth and expansion. In a just world, so many of these songs would have actually had radio play. It has that crossover appeal, especially as so many of these felt like singles that were just waiting to happen. And while we in Canada actually got a few of these to chart, oh, the irony given that album title, I still think this record has not gotten the airplay it deserves. Seriously, check out All-American Badass and really the rest of Joey Badass's discography. So worth it. Number 10. And speaking of stylistic growth and evolution that has gone unappreciated by too many in the mainstream public, I'll admit, I was a little bit hesitant placing Melodrama on this list at first. I mean, I knew it was great, the inspired choice of producer and star that showcased another level of expressive writing talent and delivery that won me over a fair bit more than her debut, but would this have staying power for me? And then I re-listened to it. And then re-listened to another 3 or 4 times to be sure, and once more with feeling. Let's not mince words. Even if the hits dry up, Lorde will be the sort of artist that we'll be talking about for years to come. And with Melodrama, she showcased so much more of that potential. If you haven't heard it, I think so many of you already have, you definitely need to. This record is awesome. And now, here are a good 8 songs from albums that didn't quite make this list, but definitely deserve your consideration. From I See You, Replica by the XX.
Become a replica. Your mistakes were only chemical.
From Puxico, This Town Still Talks About You by Natalie Hempkins.
About you, like you never left. Hidden sounds, hidden cracks, sidewalks, and church pews. How could we forget?
From Road Less Traveled, Same Day, Different Bottle by Lauren Elena.
But you can't keep going on and on and on this way. Same day, different bottle.
From Near to the Wild Part of Life, Near to the Wild Part of Life by Japan Boys.
That makes a reason from the sound of my singing, baby. So I left my home and all I had. I used to be good, but now I'm bad.
From Chill Dummy, Gravedigger by POS featuring Angelina.
What you want, beating back those playing on my phone. What you want, we can keep it close. We can own the road. What you want, I can see all the way from here. It's the same as here, no matter how far I go.
From Little Fictions, Magnificent She Says by Elbow.
How much it needs this little girl. It's all gonna be magnificent. She says.
From Felony Blues, Stone Hotel by Jamie White.
Time holds still at the Stone Hotel. Free meals on the counter bill. Takes my calls at the Stone Hotel. My people's aching for now, but I got someone waiting on me.
And from Divide, Castle on the Hill by Ed Sheeran.
Singing to Tiny Dancer, and I miss the way you make me feel. It's real. We watch the sunset over the castle lonely.
And now back to the list proper. Number 9. This group has made my year-end list before, and just like that last time, it always feels a little bit strange putting them on a year-end list, or even a mid-year list. Mostly because my love of this band feels contrary to so many music critics. I mean, it's so old school and overblown, and especially on this album, obviously worshipping at the same altar as Tame Impala. Why would you bother listening to them? no, I don't think people give Temples nearly enough credit as a psychedelic group, this time shifting away from rock to more of a synth-driven pop sound. Now, their sound might call back to the 60s, but it's a sort of throwback that gently updates the sound and contains the sort of melodic grooves that will just stick in your head like nothing else. I can't lie, so much of my love for this band comes back to the fundamentals of great composition, and when you pair it with colorful and insightful writing that has never gotten the praise that it truly deserves, Volcano remains one of my favorite records thus far this year, and definitely deserves a lot more attention. Check it out. Number 8. And speaking of retro-leaning acts that deserve so much more critical attention,
When we were young, we said one day, honey, you and I were gonna share a grave. I didn't know it was so soon. No, I didn't know it was so soon.
you know what, there's a part of me that feels that I may have overpraised Ron Gallo a little bit when I reviewed Heavy Meta, especially when you start tracing back to the roots of his style of rock. Yes, the Rolling Stones influence, it's blatant, and I can't in good conscience say that he's not doing anything that Kyle Kraft isn't doing with more flair and style. But again, it comes down to rock solid composition, great grooves, and a frontman who's unafraid to live up to this record's title in the best way possible. The writing is terrifically witty, the hooks, they really stick with you. It's a sort of swaggering, noisy garage rock that bites in deep and does not let go. Too many of you have not heard about Ron Gallo. Fix that. This rules. Number 7. I feel like every year I say that I just don't cover enough black metal, and I don't know if it's a problem of me not knowing where to look for it, or just not putting enough of it on my schedule myself. Because when it is there, you guys will vote for it, and that's turned out pretty damn awesome, so what am I missing here? Especially when it comes to this. This album threw me off guard a little bit. Yeah, it's a sort of atmospheric black metal for which I'm a very easy sell, but there's so much more beyond that. The production balance for one, showcasing the sort of diversity and edge in its tones that I can recall to this day, all across 6 mammoth songs that hit with thunderous presence and power. And that's before you get to the writing. There is a gruesome level of visceral detail in this poetry that hits that sweet spot between primal beauty and primeval decay. I cannot promise this will be for everyone. Even to the black metal fans, this will go in some twisted progressive directions. It is definitely a bit of an acquired taste, but once you get it, you'll keep coming back. Somehow, Fen just keeps pulling it off and are definitely one of the most underrated black metal bands that are currently releasing albums. Definitely check this out, it's worth it. And now we're at the halfway point, so why not another 8 songs from records that missed the cut but are awesome regardless. From common as Light and Love or Red Valleys of Blood, I Love Portugal by Sunkill Moon.
I love Portugal, I love Portugal, oh, I love Portugal, I love Portugal, I love Portugal, oh, I love Portugal.
From The Breaker by Little Big Town.
And I did it all knowing you thought I was the hero of your heart, but I turned out to be the breaker.
From Hot Thoughts, Whisper I'll Listen to Hear It by Spoon.
Just show me some sign of life. I know you must hold secrets. Such a long way from home. You're a loss that needs delivering. Someday you'll be where you should go.
From Eternity in Your Arms, Black Rain by Creep. From Pure Comedy, Leaving LA by Father John Misty.
From my last cover piece, and Titled The Oldest Man in Folk Rock Speaks.
From Damn DNA by Kendrick Lamar.
Shit I been through probably offend you. This is Parler's oldest son. I know murder, conviction, burners, boosters, burglars, ballers, dead, redemption, scholars, fathers dead with kids, and I wish I was fed forgiveness. Yeah. Soldier's DNA.
From Infinite, The Surprising by Deep Purple.
Said something you should see.
And finally, from You're Not As You Think, No Halo by Sorority Noise. And now back to the list proper. Number 6. Hey, I just covered this a few days ago. Why haven't you heard it yet?
Because I've seen the other side of power. Yeah, it's a game that can't go on. If the breakdown in the hour, I see the faces and I know them all.
So as I said in the review, I was on the fence whether or not this album was better than the self-titled release, and I ultimately don't quite think it is. They're about even in my books. That said, when you have a record with this much intellectual weight, cacophonous power, a frontman who is only showcasing more talent and versatility with every single release, and better hooks than ever before, of course this is gonna make this list. Algiers is making the sort of political music that isn't just relevant right now, it's high-minded and philosophical in the best way possible. Nearly every critic is already singing the praises for this record, as they should have been for the last album, but oh well. And yeah, this time, so worth it. If you haven't heard the Underside of Power, you need to. Number 5. So this record has gotten a fair share of controversy, from mainstream country fans wary about the politics, to even some indie fans are wary about the politics, and even those indie fans exasperated by the shifts towards more direct songwriting, to critics who are utterly missing the point. And yet, it's his highest selling solo record thus far. Yes, the controversy isn't slowing him down that much.
He was down in the mines all day. I know he wanted more than mouths to feed and bills to pay. Maybe the Cumberland Gap just swallows you whole. Maybe the Cumberland Gap just swallows you whole.
Look, at this point, what is there more to say about Jason Isbell as a songwriter? Because with the Nashville sound bringing back rock with a vengeance in the southern variety, he's still showing the sort of attention to detail and insight that will rarely get enough of the credit that it deserves, especially when it is more direct. Coupled with Dave Cobb finally getting a good handle on southern rock production, this is a record where Isbell confronts not just half-buried demons in his past, but also a very real reason to fight and care going forward. The sort of real mission that might not feel as dramatically satisfying, but yet is still so much more human. It anchors this album with a real sense of urgency. Yeah, there's a part of me that still loves Something More Than Free a little bit more. The songwriting there was gorgeous. But overall, if caring becomes controversial, I think both Jason Isbell and myself welcome that controversy, because this record, it kicks ass. Number 4. The fact that this album works so damn well kind of blows my mind, because if you remember where Mike Hadrius started to evolve to this point, and this sound in particular might seem kind of natural in retrospect, but it could have gone wrong in so many ways in terms of sonic balance and the writing, and yet...
I see the sun go down. I see the sun come up. I see a light beyond the frame. I see the sun go down. I see the sun come up. I see a reef upon the grave.
This it's an utterly gorgeous and over-the-top release, and yet still manages to have that throbbing human core. It pushes Hadrius to his limits as a vocalist, where he then meets them and surpasses them. It's a record that wants to escape into flights of fantasy, and yet in realizing you truly can't, instead finds a very human love that would transcend them. This is Baroque pop at its most ornate, and yet it's catchy as hell, driven off of another star-making performance and a beautiful, overwhelming arc and themes to boot. Unsurprising to anyone, this record has also been getting mountains of critical acclaim, and yeah, Perfume genius, they definitely deserve it. Top 3 up ahead, but in the meantime, here are the final 8 songs that definitely deserve a lot more attention. From the 7, 9.5 by Talib Kweli and Styles P, featuring Sheep Lounge and
Hands up
Eady.
close to the skies, by the shade the world up on my 9.5. We some real motherfuckers on the rise.
Talib, what up, God?
Under pressure, but over the line. Stand up, hands up close to the skies, by the shade the world up on my 9.5.
From the Navigator, Palante by Hooray for the
Be
Riff Raff.
something. Well, take your pay and stay out the way. Be something. Ah, do your best, but fuck the rest. Be something.
From the Source, Journey to Forever by Ariel. From Love and War, Go to Bed Early by Brad Paisley.
It's only 8:30. That's alright. I know you ain't tired, neither am I. Let's go to bed early and stay up all night.
From Brutalism, 1049 Gotho by Idols.
I pissed in the kitchen sink as she slowly undressed. No way, we never shall decay. We won't last 5 fucking minutes with a body like mine and a mind like mine.
From Harry Styles, Ever Since New York by Harry Styles.
Already know. Oh, tell me something I don't already know.
From Gone Now, Don't Take the Money by Bleachers.
You steal the air out of my lungs, you make me feel it. I pray for everything we lost, but back the secrets. Your head forever's all I want. Don't take the money. Don't take the money.
And finally, from Wrangled, Only Blood by Angelina Presley.
There's a path for you and me. Only blood can set you free.
And now back to the list. Number 3. It was meant to drop at the beginning of 2017. That's when the physical copies were made available. It counts. It's on this list.
But the truth is that I see you now. I see you now. Still talk to you like you're around. Like you're around. And I guess I'd say you left too soon. You left too soon. But the truth is that you never left. You never left. 'Cause I never let myself forget. Never forget.
It was the first record I covered this year, and it remains one of the best. If only because Killer Mike and LP seem to delight in finding new ways to top each other. The camaraderie and the chemistry seems endless. The production is more expansive than ever before, and the bars just never seem to stop. No, I wouldn't quite put this on the level of RTJ2 for me, which was my top record of 2014, and has a little bit more of that rawness that I loved a little bit too much. RTJ3 a little bit indulgent at spots, but it's still a mission statement coming out of hell and promising that reckoning, and hot damn, it was worth it. If you've not gotten into this, guys, what are you waiting for? Number 2. It's kind of funny. Back in 2014, Run the Jewels just scraped past this artist to top my year-end list. And now the positions are reversed and neither are topping it. And yet it feels like I'm one of so few who are singing this self-titled record's praises.
I've got a second chance, I'm gonna make it count. Make my way out west, maybe head down south. Live a life of a pardoned man, believing in things I don't understand.
There's a part of me that does get it. Why Jason and Eady, he doesn't get celebrated as much as he should. For country, he doesn't really write easy music, and it's subtle music too. The detail is rich and personal. His delivery is restrained but potent and intense all the same. His production and sound takes the country template and refines it something damn near close to perfection. No bells and whistles that aren't needed. And that sense of purity, that can be intimidating to some people who are unwilling to confront something this straightforward and yet nuanced and human. Hell, that nuance is the theme of this album and coming to grips with it. It's a simply incredible listen in country music that is so easy to return to time and time again. Easily could have topped this list, and yet, number 1. Of all of my reviews on this channel, this one, for this record, probably required the most work. I listened through over a dozen records in preparation for this album to establish the context and the mindset to really appreciate it properly. All for an album that pivoted away from so much of that history, I probably could have gone in cold. But the context, it helps. And I discovered a singer-songwriter who's really in a class of his own, making the sort of record that could have so easily and quickly become a gimmick and yet tilted in a way to challenge all those expectations. And it's easily my favorite of 2017 thus far.
We played for you, but you would not sing. No one was gonna get away with anything. The river goes where the water flows, but no one knows when the back gate closed. The river goes where the water flows, but no one knows when the back gate closed.
Not gonna lie, I have made friends in goth clubs this year talking about the Mountain Goats and this album in particular. Mostly because it's the sort of album that might revel in the moments of theatricality and bombast, but also showcases the flawed humanity and a misunderstood subculture that we still have, even as it continues to eke out in existence. It's enough sounds like goth rock to draw you in, if only just to switch the script to showcase an oddly mellow but no less compelling picture that might soundtrack the normal life around a goth. It's an exploration that pulls no punches and examines every scar in detail, but ultimately is a sort of textured celebration that the subculture it needs and really does deserve. The Mountain Goats may have made better albums or ones that will resonate stronger for certain people, but you know what, for me, it's the album to beat in 2017. It's got me over that much. And if the rest of 2017 can measure up to this, I think we're in for a grand year indeed. But until then, I'm Mark, you're watching Spectrum Pulse, and I'll see you next time.